Hey guys, I'm Rico and welcome to Reverse 1999. Today, I have an in-depth guide going into Eternity, what makes her so good, and how you can incorporate her into a team. So before we get started, remember to leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on those notifications if you want to see more Reverse 1999 videos from me and you don't want to miss my new videos. Now, on to Eternity. Eternity is one of 3 6-star DPS units you can obtain from the beginner banner, the first drop of rain. Eternity is an amazing early game and late game DPS, much like her partners in the beginner banner. So how does she separate herself from the others then? For starters, Eternity is a mineral type attribute, meaning she'll deal more damage against beast type, take more damage against star type. She is also a reality damage dealer, which is basically physical damage. It's important to understand that both of Eternity's combat skills, Persevigor and Antique Fan, will damage her when used at 10% of her current HP. Persevigor is a single target damaging skill that deals 200%, 300%, and 500% reality damage depending on card rank, and inflicts the nasty wound status on the enemy hit, which reduces the healing that enemy receives by 50%. Antique Fan is her mass attack damage skill that will hit 2 enemies, dealing 160%, 240%, and 400% damage, depending on card rank. At first glance, this might seem bad if she damages herself because won't she just kill herself if the battle is drawn out too long? Well, that's where her ultimate comes in. If we look at her ultimate, Odd Story in Exeter, we will see that not only does she deal 300% reality damage, but she will heal 50% of the damage that she deals with this ultimate. That is insane, especially when buffing her, because it's a mass damage ultimate, meaning you're getting at most 3 instances of healing, and her damage goes into the thousands range, so you're going to be healing thousands of damage off this ultimate as well. So the trade-off to dealing damage to herself is that she'll be able to get a massive burst of healing and damage to be able to sustain herself throughout a fight with that ultimate. If her healing wasn't crazy enough by itself, then let's talk about Eternity's inheritance, 100-Year Solitude. 100-Year Solitude allows her to gain stacks called Blood of Longevity at 1 stack per turn. Each stack grants her a 3% damage up and 3% damage heal, and you can have 5 stacks maximum, so you wait 5 turns and you're good to go. Did I also mention her inheritance also just gives her free immunity to poison, bleed, and corrode statuses, which is just super useful? Did I also mention this is unlocked at Insight 1? That's not hard to get at all. For a beginner player, you should try and unlock Eternity's Insight 1 for this exact reason as soon as possible. At max stacks, you're guaranteed 15% extra damage and healing, which means that she'll be able to sustain herself even more with her ultimate. Basically, anything that gives Eternity more damage will subsequently also give her more healing. So the amount of value you can get from damage buffs is double dipped. Eternity is also amazing scaling into the mid to late game as you progress, because if you do decide to invest in her, at Insight 2, she gains an extra 8% damage when entering battle, and at Insight 3, her stacks become an ultra steroid buff. At Insight 3, Blood of Longevity stacks become even more powerful, giving 5% damage up and 5% healing. So if you do the math, now you will only need 3 stacks to get the power of 5 stacks at Insight 1. Furthermore, at 5 stacks, Blood of Longevity is converted to Blood of Immortality. What this does is that you will just get a 25% damage up and healing, and she is immune to effects that can reduce her stats, and this immunity effect cannot be removed itself. So in summary, Eternity is a character that will ramp up in power throughout a battle. She'll deal damage to herself on attacks with the benefit that she'll get massive amounts of healing from her ultimate, and her inheritance synergizes extremely well because more damage means more healing, and more healing, it means she's not going to die anytime soon. So while this is great and all, what if you don't have her ultimate and you have to heal her? After all, you have 2 other characters on your team who also have cards. Well, Typically in teams using Eternity as a main DPS, a healer must be run to make sure she's getting some consistent healing and doesn't kill herself. Now, if you're lucky and you happen to get Medicine Pocket, she is one of the best healers in the game and can be fit in other teams, so if you do have her, I would highly recommend building her. She has a mass heal for your team and gives the sturdiness status to reduce damage taken for your party, and that just means Eternity takes less damage. You can get your 5 stacks way easier. For 5-star healers, Balloon Party is also a very good option. She's kind of just like the 5-star Medicine Pocket, just a little less consistent. She has these balloons that she can give to the team and provide damage reduction, and she also has a mass heal, so it's essentially the same job, but she's a 5-star. The consistency issue really comes down to just the balloons, and you have to invest in her insight levels to have 100% uptime on them. Also, it's just neat to know that Balloon Party is coming on the next Raid Up banner if we are on the same schedule as CN. So yeah, healing, damage reduction are very good stats to have to just keep Eternity alive, make yourself more comfortable as she's getting to those 5 stacks. I will take a moment to mention Sotheby, as she is a healer that's currently on Raid Up at launch and can provide lots of constant healing and DOT damage with the right setup. However, the reason why I don't think she's a very great fit for this team is because she herself does want some card management, which may not be as good to pair with Eternity, as Eternity also needs to manage her own cards to cycle ultimates for damage and healing. I will also take a brief moment to mention DK, who is a 5-star healer that will do some damage in a battle, who is just so happens to be free with the 7-day login reward. Apple is also a free option, but he isn't optimal, and I would just wait for DK, but if you have no choice and you just want to use an Eternity team, he can still be an okay healer and do some damage. I just wouldn't recommend it. As for supports to buff Eternity's damage, Soneto and An Li are best in slot choices, as also shown on Perdwin. This is because, just like with Medicine Pocket and Balloon Party, they both essentially do the same role. They both have skills that give a damage buff, but they also give, again, damage reduction to keep Eternity alive, at least until she gets max stacks of Blood of Longevity, and then carry with her survivability and healing. Yeah, so if you don't have An Li, then just use Soneto. She's free, and a very good support for many teams. Soneto does have slightly lower buff values than An Li, but don't be too stressed about it. If you're a whale though, or if you just so happen to get An Li, build her. Another option you can consider is Cornbloom. While she doesn't provide defensive utility, she's a more aggressive option, and the best buffer support specifically for reality damage, which Eternity is. Cornbloom can debuff the enemies and reduce their reality damage defense, as well as just making them take more damage in general. She also deals some very respectable damage herself, since if the enemies are debuffed, her attack skill will be able to do more damage, so she can kind of act like a sub DPS in the team. Cornbloom's ultimate also applies an ultimate seal to the enemy, or it's a Moxie steal if they are immune to the status, which essentially does the same thing. So if you're following the pattern, the best units to pair with Eternity are generally those that have damage reduction and healing. You almost have to kind of babysit her for a little bit until she obtains her stacks. Not to say she'll be useless for the first 5 rounds, but you really want to be able to wait for those 5 rounds and then just unload her ultimate. Especially at those higher insight levels, when she gets Blood of Immortality, she is just a monster after those 5 rounds pass. As for Psych Cubes, Laughter and Laughter is one you can get for free right now from Act 5 in the beginner tasks. This Psych Cube lets you gain stacks that increase healing by 3% per stack at a maximum of 4, and when it's fully upgraded, you can have 8 stacks. It's just a very good free option. It also gives you a little bit of damage reduction, which I don't think I need to explain why that's good. Right now we won't be able to get many of the higher level Psych Cubes, but just some options to note for later On Perdwin, they recommend Yearning Desire, his Bounden Duty, Hopscotch, and Brave New World. Yearning Desire is a 5-star psych cube that increases the holder's damage to an enemy when they have a stat down or negative status debuff. Eternity just so happens to have one of those negative statuses with her nasty wound effect, meaning you will be able to get the damage buff from this psych cube. Though you have to note that the nasty wound effect only lasts for 1 turn, and that 1 turn is the same turn that you cast the card. His Bounden Duty is great because it allows Eternity to get a consistent heal on kills, though she has to be the one that last hits that enemy to get the healing ability. Brave New World and Hopscotch are both ultimate based abilities, as Brave New World increases the damage of the next card Eternity uses, and Hopscotch can increase her ultimate damage, meaning she'll heal more. And she wants to cycle her ultimate frequently, so you'll be getting these effects very often. So here I just have a short demonstration of how you can use an Eternity team in battle. On my team, I just use Eternity with Sonetto and Cornbloom to buff and debuff, so she can do more damage, and also because I don't have a healer. So if we treat Eternity's Blood of Longevity stacks as sort of a win condition, then we know we want to try and make sure to prepare for when she gets those 5 stacks. Usually I like to start with the support buffs just so I can have some form of damage and get Sonetto's damage reduction. Then I can try to use Cornbloom's attack card to deal some decent damage pre-round 5, though you also have to use Eternity's own cards from time to time so she can charge her Moxie and use her ultimate and heal off all the damage she takes. This is where your card management skills really come in, because you want to try and rank up Eternity's cards so she can charge faster, and also rank up your buff cards so you can prepare for the ultimate to do more damage. This is what allows her to heal her whole health bar in one ultimate, especially if there are more enemies that she can leech from. So even if some may argue Eternity does comparatively less damage than other DPSs like Lilia, who is also in that beginner banner, she's still not someone you should look down on, and she fits her own niche and playstyle, which can still be very strong and fun to play. If you do get her, she is a 6-star DPS, and I think that alone should give her priority for leveling, as I personally think every 6-star in Reverse 1999 is good and will slot into some role. She's a very tough cookie and hard to kill, especially once you start progressing further and unlocking those insights. But she also just has a lot of great 6-star and 5-star and free options that you can pair with her. Just remember, damage reduction and healing are the 2 crucial things to look out for when figuring out who to use for her. But that's all I have for Eternity. Let me know down below what characters you chose to reroll for, or if you are also using Eternity. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it very informational or learned something new. For more info, you can find the link down in the description for the Perdwin website, where you can find their tier list, character overviews, and guides. Once again, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to not miss any new videos from me, and if you just want to see more videos like this one. I'm Rico, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.